Yes, James is at the beach. Here we are, guys. This is where y'all want to be. Out here on the ocean. Look at that. Oh yeah. Beautiful day. So I'm gonna tell you what we do when we're in men's group, because y'all are curious, and so here it is. We talk about desire, abundance, masculinity. We talk about presence. And we talk about relationships. Now, abundance doesn't mean how much money you have in your bank account. What it means is how much richness do you have in your life? How much beauty, how much meaning, how much love, how much money. All those things add up to a life that's rich in ends and not in means. Means is pure money. You know, you got the means to buy something, but there is no means for happiness. Happiness is a thing that comes because you add up all of these things together, all of this abundance, and it means that you're happy, that you're content, that you feel like life has the kind of meaning that you want it to have, and the kind of fulfillment, the kind of that feeling, that knowing inside that everything is good, everything is real good, that it's okay, and the fear is down, and the love is up, and you're living life to the fullest. You know that. You don't need me for that. You know when it happens, it happens. And you share it with the other guys. If you're feeling that, that's great. You're out of your comfort zone. You're striking out. You're leaning forward into life. You know. So anyway, we talk about all of these things. We talk about relationships are a big one. Fathers are a big one. Big issue. What was your father like? Was he a bastard? Was he a loving father? Was he a drinker? Was he nice to you? Did he fill you with fear and shame, or did he fill you with love and confidence and strength? All that comes up in group. A lot of talk about relationships. Talk about professional relationships too. Like, what's it like in your business? What's it like at your work? You work for a company. What are your relationships like? Are you open-hearted? That's another thing that we talk about. So what's the big deal, you say? Open-hearted, so what? How's that going to get me money, get me a job, get me a house, get me a car? Well, if you're open-hearted, then people want to be with you. And if they want to be with you, some of them want to have a relationship with you. And some of those people might have money and influence and the power to change your life, to have a relationship with you and trust you. They like you. And if you're open-hearted, what happens is you're authentic, you're honest, and you're truthful, and your intentions are good. So if they know that, then you're the one that gets the project. You're the one that gets the funding. You're the one that gets to be creative. You're the one that gets the good promotion. You're the one that gets the job. So that's how that goes. So there's a lot of talk about that too. A lot of guys are entrepreneurs in my group. One of them was a yoga entrepreneur, another one is a doctor, integrative medicine, which is like that woo-woo medicine that's not necessarily conventional, even though he is a regular doctor. A house builder, an IT director in a college. One of them was a huge entrepreneur that had millions of dollars. So we had all kinds of guys in group over the years, and we all are connected with each other deeply. So what does that mean exactly? So let's say you got guy friends, you go out and have beer, and you go out and hang out and look for girls, you go play pool, you do whatever you do, you have parties and so forth. But in a group of guys that are in a men's group, they talk about deeper stuff than what you hear in the locker room. It's totally different. We talk about the stuff that I just mentioned. Abundance, desire, relationships, meaning, purpose in life, all the big stuff. You don't talk about that necessarily with just anybody. So that's why men's group is so important, because you get a chance to do that. It's a safe place. Nobody, laughs about it. They keep the, what happens in men's group stays in men's group. It doesn't go outside the circle. So guys feel safe talking about the kind of things that are really important to them. So that's a huge thing with what the men's group can do for you. A lot of guys, they never really discuss things like that with anybody. That's why they lean on women too hard, see? And women feel like they're getting the short end of the stick because they got to take care of these guys because they're talking about their emotions, they're talking about how they're trying to make money and live, be successful. And it's not the woman's job to help you with that, dudes. You got to do it yourself, and you do it with other men. That's how it's done. In the men's group, that's the best place to do it. Now, you can have a couple of really good friends that talk about that stuff, and if that's what's good for you and that works, that's fine. But in a group, you get reflection. You get, I wouldn't call it judgment, but you get, you're kind of held accountable to what you say. If you aren't truthful and you aren't authentic, boy, they'll call you out. They keep you true and honest in the group. That's what it's for. Good stuff, man. Let's see, what else do we talk about? Purpose. Purpose involves all these things. It involves abundance, it involves creativity. Mostly it involves doing something with meaning in your life. If you have the kind of meaning that you do on a day-to-day basis that really fuels your spirit, it gives you what you need to live a rich life, not necessarily millions of dollars, but a rich life like I just talked about, abundance, then that's what you need. And that's what it's given you, and you tell the other guys about it, and they go, hey, cool, maybe I'll do that. It is a round table. You share all this. It's just fantastic. Discussion of fathers goes deeper than I have time for here, but I will say this about fathers. When you get to be 30 or 40 or 50 years old, you start to look at some of the trauma that you might have had when you were a kid. And some of that trauma comes from fathers. It comes from a mean dad, or a dad that ignored you, or whatever it was. So what we try to do in group is break the chain of pain, break the chain of trauma. The things that your dad did that weren't good for you, we try not to do that to our own kids. So we talk about that in group too. I'm not going to beat my kids, or I'm not going to shame them, or I'm not going to use coercion or try to instill them with fear so that they, stay safe. If those things were done to you by your father, breaking the chain means you don't do it. You stop it. Now maybe it came from, your father got it from his father, and then he got it from his father. So that's the chain. And if you break it, then you're doing a huge amount of good, because you're not putting the sins of the father on your kids. This is what they talk about in literature, the sins of the father. You don't need to keep on making the same mistakes over and over again. So that's huge with fathers. There's a whole bunch of other shit that we talk about too with fathers. But relationships with women is one of the biggest things that we talk about. And I know you guys are, going to be running off to look at tits and ass on a reel pretty soon, so you're running out of attention. Too bad for you. But if you're not, and you're still here, the whole idea around desire basically centers around how much of yourself are you willing to change? How much are you willing to give to another person in order to have love? How much is that? What does that look like for you? What does it feel like? Because usually what happens is, this girl's nice, she looks good, but you know what? There's too much drama, and she's asking too much of me, and I don't need to do that shit. I'll just find another woman and I'll drop her. And so what that does is it just increases the serial monogamy, or I'm not going to change, so I'm going to keep dropping this girl, I'll get another one, until I find one that's going to do what I want. Dude, that's not going to happen. When you're in a relationship, it goes both ways. You share. You have to give up something, then you get something. She gives up something and she gets something else. And the sooner you learn that, the better. And it's not going to be my way or the highway with any decent relationship. So the sooner you learn that, the less you're going to suffer. But you don't know that as well when you're young and you're by yourself and you're looking at all these idiots in the manosphere trying to influence young men on your computer, on the internet, and they're telling you, hey, talk to me, well, you don't need all the drama, you don't need women. That is a bunch of shit. It's just pure shit, guys. There is nothing better in life than love. Nothing. And you can't have it if you don't give love in return. To get it, you gotta give it. Anyway, I'll leave you with that little gem, that little bit of wisdom. Lots of love from James and the Juice.